Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tech for Tech Tech Talk. This is a live show where we help your IT business grow. I'm Philip Griffiths, and this is...
I'm Jenny Griffiths.
And we are your hosts for today. We've got two guests on the show. We've got Ben, who's going to be here. So this is Ben. Ben, if you just want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, and then we'll move on to Will. If you've got a little tip, you feel free to obviously include that as well.
Yeah, good evening, Phil. I'm Ben Ashcroft. I run Bugs and Bytes Computing in Lincoln. Do laptops and desktops, trade sales, gaming towers, that sort of thing. Tip of the day, if you're trying to get to the task manager on a really slow running PC and you don't want to wait 10 minutes to go through all the previous steps, just press Control, Shift and Escape, and that'll bring the task manager straight up for you. Save you a bit of time.
Yeah, brilliant. And one of the things you don't want to do right at this moment in time is try the other tip, which is press Alt and F4, is it? Or Control and F4? Forget it, Alt and F4, yeah, because obviously that'll close the browser and you'll lose us. And I've just seen that two people have just dropped off the stream as I've said that, so I'm guessing they're going to press Alt and F4. But there we go. So they're probably going to be swearing at me in a few minutes. But right, let's just quickly go through to chat before we go over to Will. So we've got a few people on. So we've got Facebook users saying hi, or evening, should I say. If you are a Facebook user, make sure you click the link what I've put in the chat. I've also put it on the screen there, but it's basically allows your name to be shown. So it's chat.restream.io/FB. That'll allow your name to be shown instead of calling you Facebook user if you are watching from Facebook. And I'll stick that on the screen again. We've got Peter Whitehouse as well saying evening Tech for Techs, Ben Ashcroft and Willie Murr. We've also got a Facebook user, Macaulay at Stevenson's IT Solutions, IT Support Solutions Limited. And we've got a hello from, I'm guessing that's Crosshaven Computers. I think Cormac's been on some of that Irish whiskey and can't spell the name of his own computer company. Oh, here we go. He's corrected it now. So there we go. So make sure you guys obviously click on that. And thank you, whoever posted that restream.io, but it also needs /Facebook in it for it to be for it to work. So it's on the screen again now for you. So, and I'll post it in there. So if you are a Facebook user, make sure you click that link, say yes, and go from there. We've also got Sean as well from Brolly IT in Ireland. Hi there, Sean. And we've got Alison Cook from Norfolk. She's saying happy Thursday, everyone. Is there such thing as a happy Thursday, Alison? Well, you let us know.
Alison every day is happy.
Yeah, she's quite.
It's a little ray of sunshine every day.
Yeah, that's true. Right. So before we go any further, let's introduce you to Will, or we'll let Will introduce himself. So, Will, if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and if you've got any tips for us today.
Hi, my name's Will. Obviously, from Fife, Dunfermline, running Consumer Tech, which is a IT repair, support and MSP company. I think my tip of the day is one of my customers had brought in a laptop that she had used antiseptic wipe to clean her screen, and unfortunately the liquid went through the LCD and damaged it. So if you're going to clean screens, please use appropriate cloths and appropriate sprays and cleaners.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, it's definitely an interesting tip to start us off with. So we've got Richard Creedy saying hello again. I'm guessing he was one of the Facebook users, and we've got Crosshaven Computers just putting a comma in the chat. So I'm pretty sure he's been on the Irish whiskey, either that or something, to be honest with you. So that's an interesting comment there, Cormac. Yeah, comma. There you go. But anyway, let's move on to Jen. So, Jen, if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are and if you've got any tip stories for us today.
Well, I am Jenny Griffiths. Some people call me Jennifer. Either way is fine by me. Basically, I am the editor around here. When it's time to edit the videos, I'm the one that doctors those up, takes the ers and rs and stuff out for Phil. So that's my job.
Nice one. And have you got any tips for us?
Oh yeah, this one comes from actually a person that I play online games with. We will call him Rob to protect his identity because he's probably watching the show. Rob decided to take his laptop upstairs. And so he, instead of shutting down the laptop, he just carried it in his hands. And he wrapped the cord around the base of the laptop and the keyboard and all that. And somehow, I don't know if he tripped on the stairs or what, he broke the screen of the laptop. Oh, that's not the better part of it yet. He opens the laptop up for some reason to see if there's any more internal damage. And he shorts out the GPU. So there's 2 tips. Shut down your laptop when you're going to carry it around and unplug it, all that. And also, don't try and fix something that you're not exactly a professional with. So there's 2 tips in one.
Okay, thank you there, Jen. So let's just get the screen sorted. There we go. So yeah, so obviously look after laptops. Obviously hinges and obviously charge points are very delicate. So right, let's go on to me first. So Phil's news. Well, first of all, before we do anything, I have to tell you about this. Where can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you, strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors, and meet some of the biggest names in the industry, where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. And there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. Then what's more, you'll get that for £1. TechMax 2023 will be on the 23rd of June at Magna Adventure and Science Centre near Meadowhall in Sheffield. This event will be over 4 times larger than last year's event, and this year's event will incorporate a live tech awards, dedicated meeting rooms, demo and interactive areas, and up to 800 other techs just like you. Get registered now at tftmax.com. Okay, guys, so if you haven't already, get registered at tftmax.com, because obviously if you don't, then, well, you don't come. It's simple as that. We have actually got some 99p tickets in, which don't include lunch, so you will have to buy stuff at the snack bar. Bear in mind, the snack bar is only small items, probably like sausage rolls and stuff like that, nothing too advanced. You can't bring your own food into the venue because of, obviously, health and safety laws and stuff like that. So if you decide you don't want to have the lunch, which is only £1 more, or the tickets for the lunches actually sell out, then you can go out to the car park, have some sandwiches in there, and have a picnic if you want. There are even some picnic tables outside you could probably sit at, and so forth. So just a heads up there. Also, for those who mentioned about the Jury's Inn discount code not working, that is now working again. So if you are wanting to stay at the Jury's Inn in Sheffield, which is now called Leonardo's, I believe, that discount code, which is Magna in capitals, will now work and will give you a discount on your hotel rooms. So, and again, thanks for John McKenzie for letting me know about that one. We were going to be launching something today as well. We were going to be launching the new Tech for Tech members page. We've had to hold it off a little bit, though, unfortunately, because we found a few little bugs which need rectifying before we launch it fully. We've had a few people testing it, around about 20 people altogether, and everything seems fine apart from one main issue is that people can't edit the profiles, change passwords or anything like that. There seems to be a slight bug with that at the moment. We're getting that rectified, and hopefully we'll launch it on next week's show, if not before. If you don't know what the Tech for Tech members page is, it's basically not to replace Facebook, it's to use in conjunction with Facebook, or for people who don't want to use Facebook. It's basically, you'll have most of the content what's on Facebook in there. You'll have polls and different things like that, and it's also even got a members map, so you can read up about different vendors and distributors which are available, as well as discount codes and all the usual stuff. So obviously, Dan, who's just commenting there, says it'll be great when it's done, Phil. He's actually been slyly testing it a little bit. So he's actually been on there. That's Dan from CMS. So if you haven't checked out CMS, he's done a message today on the Tech for Tech's Facebook group, where he's actually introduced himself and basically says that CMS have basically that dedicated to helping Tech for Tech members. They've even got their own Tech for Techs contact email address, so you can email them at Tech for Techs. I think it's at cmsdistribution.com, and then you'll be able to contact them directly. They'll know you from Tech for Techs, and hopefully they'll be able to offer you any special deals or anything like that that they can do for TFT members. I don't know if they've actually got any special deals, but if they haven't, I've made Dan a bit of a job tomorrow with everyone contacting him probably. But anyway, so we've also got a few comments on. Let me just go on the screen. That's a definite no on that one. So I've seen plenty of things sprayed on laptops over the time. I think one of my biggest ones actually, and this is my tip, mainly consumers, is spraying WD-40 on a fan inside a PC to stop it making a noise
Oh dear.
while the fan is on. As you can imagine, the coats a whole inside of your laptop in WD-40. It doesn't go down.
Imagine what it did to the wall.
Well, it was inside the laptop, so it was sort of like when you switched it on the desk, it was like where the vents are.
Total.
There was basically like where the vents are on the side. It was like spray marks on the table. So it was a bit of a mess, but there we go. So I've seen a few things like that over the years. Right, sorry.
I was going to say, I do have one thing to mention about TechMax. If you go to our page looking for the address for TechMax, you might notice that it says that TechMax will be held in Rotherham. Well, it's so close, Sheffield and Rotherham are, that we just call it Sheffield. The correct address is Rotherham, but it's like literally walking across the street, and on one side is Sheffield and one is Rotherham. So it's not incorrect. We had some people asking about this earlier. It's not incorrect. It is totally correct for your sat nav. So if you see it saying Rotherham, don't be confused.
Yeah, so it's basically right next to Meadowhall, which is Sheffield, but the other side of the road's sort of like one's Sheffield, one's Rotherham, so it's sort of a half and half. So if you confuse, the main reason you chose to say Sheffield over Rotherham, and most of the things is because most people, unfortunately, sorry if you're from Rotherham, know where Sheffield is, and a lot of people don't know where Rotherham is. So, and that was the main reason we're saying that. But it's practically a couple of, well, about 3 or 4 miles away from the venue last year, so practically still Sheffield. Right, let's go on to the main topic then. And guys in the chat, if you have seen anything else interesting put on a laptop, like Richard Creedy says, WD-40 on the screen makes interesting patterns, feel free to comment, let us know. And if you've got any interesting shortcuts, what people don't know about when you're repairing, like Ben says, or you want to try Alt F4, then leave the actual in the comments as well, let us know. So, right, let's get on to the main topics then. So who wants to start us off? Let's start off with, let's say Ben then. So Ben, do you want to start us off and give us a topic to talk about today?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the CRM website, Computer Repairman.
Okay.
It's been sort of fairly heavily advertised on Tech for Techs on the page. I've just got to say, I appreciate I might be plugging it a bit, but really great service. So I signed up to it last year, obviously. It was about 6-7 months ago. I was slightly dubious because I've never signed up to lead generation service before. I don't know if this is still applicable, but there was a free trial when I first joined it. It's worked out really well, and basically you pay a certain amount per lead, and you pay that whether or not you convert the lead into an actual sale or a repair or whatnot. Excuse me. Yeah, just really very good quality leads coming through it. I was just chatting to Danny earlier on this afternoon, just generally anyway, and there are still some areas which haven't yet been covered. And if you message either Danny or Jace, they'll be able to tell you basically which ones aren't, which areas are still available. But yeah, I have to say it's really, really good as a service. It works really well for extra income streams. Yeah, so there you have it.
There you go. And if you didn't see, I put that on the screen as well for everyone to see. So there we go. So nice one. Has any of you guys? Well, I know about you, Jem, but what about yourself, Will? Have you tried Computer Repairman?
Yeah, I'm a member of Computer Repairman, and big kudos to Jason and who run it and do search engine optimization and things like that, and Google search results, because it does it. I know my local area. If you type in laptop repairs, computer repairs, it's within the top 3. Computer repairman will pop up. You put your postcode in, you find my ugly face on the front of it, so people seem to ask me to come and help them out. So I must have a trusting face, and I do get quite a lot of leads off it. Yeah, so it's big kudos. It's I come across it by accident actually. I'm the first person, in fact, the only person in Scotland to be a member of it. So if anyone else is watching from Scotland, contact Jace at Computer Repairman, and get yourself signed up, because it's well worth it.
I'll maybe move back to Aberdeen then, will I? I know, I'll take over
Well,
Aberdeen.
there you go.
The other thing I quite like about the whole CRM thing is you're not in competition with anyone else with leads. They assign one person per area.
That's a good thing.
So you're not in competition for leads. And Richard says, he says, had quite a bit of work in CRM also some time where he says, yeah, you do get some people or some leads that don't sort of get back to you. It's part of the course of this sort of thing. But I have to say, it's, as a form of advertisement, it's been the best service that I've ever seen, really, because what you pay per lead and what you get in return compared to, say, advertising on Facebook or advertising on your business page or advertising on Google or whatnot. Yeah, it's a brilliant return. I've been sort of doing a return on investment sort of figure every few months just to sort of check how it's going. It's usually a really, really solid return on investment for what you're paying per lead and how much you get back per work.
Yeah, completely agree, Ben. It's I've done the same. Keep an eye on it. I use Synchro MSP and register all my customers from CRM into it, and I can see on a flow chart how much is profit and expenditure, etc., like that. And it's worthwhile. Yeah, I agree with Richard. You do get some. Not, I wouldn't call them time wasters so much. I've found out people just phoning up for advice on how to fix it themselves. What just I'll suggest that they don't do it. Use a professional, give them advice, and normally I can turn that around and go out and visit people and help them out and get some sales out of it as well. So it definitely outweighs the benefits. Being a member, it's definitely good benefits. Sorry, I should say. But yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm going to say we used them for a while before we sort of started running things down a little bit, so we could concentrate more on tech for text. And must admit, we did get quite a few contacts, especially for Macs and phones and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, but we passed them on to another local store, which managed to do them. When we actually stopped doing it, that other local store actually took over from doing it. But I must admit, his search engine optimization he does, so he comes up quite high in most of the rankings, is pretty good, to be honest with you. I don't know how he magically does it. Who he's paying off at Google, no clue. But definitely usually ranks quite high in a lot of the search engines and areas what are covered. So that's definitely good.
I would say as well, the other good thing with it is the longer you're in looking after that area. I mean, the first month I did it, I got maybe 4 or 5 leads. This month has to date been the busiest month, and being January as well, that's a great thing because January is historically quite a quiet month. And I think this month I've had 26 leads so far, so I've had pretty much a lead every day.
Yeah.
You can't complain about.
Yeah, I've been about the same actually. I think it was last October was my best one, where I had about 65 leads. And it was getting to the stage where I couldn't keep up. I had to phone and apologise a couple of days later. So that was a really good month. But not complaining, bring it on, and it's like you say, Phil, how he does the rankings is amazing. Really good.
Yeah, it does very good. 65 leads, what you got. God, that's more than some computer repair shops or whatever get normally in a month anyway. Even in some cases 2 or 3 months. So that's hell of a lot of leads. So definitely good there. What were you going to say, Ben?
I was going to say you tend to get sort of decent quality customers through it as well. I don't know if this is applicable to other areas, but I would say probably about 60-70%, maybe even 80% of the customers I get are what you would class as silver surfers, to coin a phrase. It's sort of the older sort of generation of people, and it's the sort of people you can trust. So
Yeah,
I've got a
pretty
good. I seem to be picking up silver surfers areas in St Andrews, Cooper, Anstruther area, and oh god, that's a busy area for me. And it's about half an hour's drive away, but what I've managed to do is cluster them. Get 4 or 5 calls in a day, and go up. And it's of course St Andrews University up there as well. So I've had a lot of students who won't go outside the sort of compound of St Andrews University. They use their computer online to find computer repair that will come to them. So that's a good selling point for me. So no complaints. It's been great actually.
it's good for networking as well.
Yeah.
With other techs, it's good for networking with other guys in the TFT group, because I got one the other day. It was a guy wanted 18 domains transferring. I don't do anything to do with domain transfer, nor to start with domain transfer. And I ended up getting one of the other guys in TFT to drop him an email and take the job on, I think. So.
That sounds pretty good. I must admit, I'm going to say I've not heard anyone say really anything bad about it, to be honest with you. So must admit, done pretty well. Right, let's move on to another topic. Can't spend all time talking good things about Computer Repairman, even though it is a really good website. So I don't see him actually in the chat tonight, which makes a change as well, to be honest with you, because he's usually watching. So it's about so when we're talking good about him, he's not actually here. So someone might want to give him a prod. Right, okay. So let's move on to Will. Will, do you have any topics you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, unfortunately, password managers. Good thing, bad thing. Ooh. It's open to debate. However, one that's caused me a right headache over the last 3-4 weeks has been LastPass. Unfortunately, they've been breached, I think, twice in the last 6 months. I was watching on a LinkedIn show with another MSP that's in America, and they had done a lot of research into the goings-on of LastPass and things like that. And we've chatted about it in Tech for Techs, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I listen to it and do a bit of research and things like that. But unfortunately, one of the things that had popped up was that their Android app had been collecting browser data and sending it back. Normally these apps will collect statistics and things like that, but I found out that it's been collecting your browser data and sending it back to LastPass, and that's some of the information that was breached. So I've been working with Pax8, who's a great vendor for many software companies and things like that, and I'm moving over to another company. But it's just to get people's thoughts on how would you handle it? How would you have that conversation with one of your customers, your business customers, which I'm having to do about LastPass? I've been promoting that business for the last 6 months, 7 months. Got a lot of my business MSP customers to sign up to it, and we've been using it. However, after even doing my due diligence with LastPass, I'm having to go back and with my tail between my legs and move them on to another provider. Fortunately, though, we've not had data breaches through the company or anything like that, and it's I'm just shocked. It's people put a lot of information, trust a lot of information into password managers, and it's sometimes I think to myself, I'm better with a piece of paper and a pen, going back old school. It just so I'd appreciate people's thoughts. There's lots of password managers out there. It's not just LastPass. Any piece of software or accounts is open to a certain amount of risk. But it's been pretty bad with LastPass over the last few years. I think they've had, and I used to use LogMeIn as well, but I've been hearing since LastPass, or LogMeIn, sorry, had taken over LastPass, then that's when things started to go a bit pear-shaped. But if it's not LastPass this month or this year, it'll be another company, in another year. So it's just be careful with your passwords. Make sure you've got two-factor authentication set up. Make sure that you've got a master password that's completely different to all your other passwords. So I see there Richard saying about Bitwarden. It's a good company. I've heard a lot of good things about them as well. I'm trialing out NordPass just now, which uses the new encryption ex-Cha-Cha. Sounds like a dance. the Cha-Cha Dance security encryption. So I'm doing some due diligence on a few ones. 1Password, Bitwarden, and also NordPass. I'm checking them out just now. But yeah, any thoughts? Please send them my way.
You know, a lot of people use the password deal, but I can't. I can't, in good faith, do it myself. And here's the reason: I'm just always dubious of anything that's got that much control over my passwords and everything, because in my brain, if they can get into the password manager, well, then that's all my passwords for banking, no, all of it right there at their fingertips. If they ever hack into my manager, well, I'm wide open. So I'm really dubious about using those. I won't even let my mother put one on her computer. I got all over about it when I thought she was using one. Call me old school. I just use a system of remembering what I do. I don't even write it down. I don't even write my passwords down and keep them where they can be found. I'm just really funny about that. And also, I'm a firm believer that don't use the same password for everything.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
obvious reasons. But yeah, I don't know. If you have to have a password manager, well, then you have to. But I can't
Yeah,
get my head around.
it's one of these ones. When I don't know if there's other people agree with me here, but when you're running a managed service provider sort of service, documentation. That's all they sort of go on about. You know, the big, huge MSPs. You know, document everything, because if I was to go out, touch wood, didn't happen, but get knocked over by a bus, who's going to know? You know everything. It's like yourself, Jen. I keep a lot of the things in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm disappointed. I really am disappointed with the password managers out there. So, but I like Macaulay's answer there as well, as using an Excel sheet with a password protector on it. Just a simple document and lock it down. It works. You know, and you don't seem to be getting people trying to hack into your computers if you're using Excel sheets. If you forget that password, that's it. You're pretty much done. But yeah, it's secure. I'll give him his due. It's secure.
That's just what I was about to say. If you forget the password for the encrypted spreadsheet, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's it. Or you end up getting some ransomware on there, what locks the file or something like that. You'll be a bit messed up then. But yeah, I don't think there's a perfect solution with anything, to be honest with you. If you write it down on a piece of paper, obviously there's always a chance someone can find it and so forth. If you do that, which I usually tell customers, is just remember part of the password and then sort of have a bit what they just mix up and change depending on the stuff, what they have written down, and then keep the other half of it somewhere safe so if someone does get hold of it, they don't know the other part of the password. But it is quite difficult. One of the things I've seen quite a lot recently with passwords, not specifically password manager, but password, people will have two-factor authentication turned on. But they'll have it, obviously, the second authentication will be on either the phone or an authentication app. But then they'll go and lose the phone or get a different phone number or something, and they haven't gone in the program to change, obviously, the details. So when it comes to actually needing to get in there, it makes things a little bit more difficult. So a lot of things these days give you you can get like a 25-digit code or whatever, which you can print out, save somewhere or whatever. Worst case scenario, you can get back in. But again, it's one of those things. If someone burgles your house and finds out, they can then log into your details. Worst case scenario, probably not that they're going to be looking for a specific sheet with 25 characters on, but you just never know. But yeah, definitely. I must agree with Macaulay though. A good one, obviously, is that. Excel sheet or something along that lines, which encrypt. But again, you've got to remember the password and stuff.
You know, also keep up to date on your details on the two-factor. I'm going back to what Phil said. My mother, as one of her two factors, had an email address of mine as a two-factor, where she could go and recover things with my email address. Well, I no longer have that email address. So when it came time to use it, I was like, Mom, first of all, why are you using my email address as the two-factor? And number two, I don't have this anymore, so we need to fix this. So yeah, make sure that you keep it up to date.
I suppose it's
Yeah.
just as technology advances, we've got to advance our memories and our habits of changing things and keeping up to date with things. There's so much of your information within accounts, bank accounts, software that you use like us, that you've got different account passwords for everything. So it's just one of these things about technology, I think, isn't it? As they say
It's
in
true.
Scotland, it rips your knitting.
You can't win anyway. You can't win any way you go, to be
No.
honest with you, because you get these, as I call them, silver surfers, who keep all their passwords written down in this nice little book, and they just give these passwords to anyone that says they're from an IT company.
Yeah,
And
they do.
the problem is, half the time these passwords in the blooming book are not the correct passwords anyway, so you have to go through it and
Yeah.
And then you get to the email. What's your email password?
Yeah.
Oh, I never had an email password. I've never had a password for my emails. It's like,
Oh, the big
many
thing what
times.
I come across a lot with customers is silver surfers, you call them, but sometimes even younger, they'll just keep a folder on the keep a file on the desktop and call it password.
Yeah.
Or passwords, or on a OneDrive folder. So if anyone ever hacks a OneDrive or something like that, then everyone's got it, or they've got it on the phone, a file on the phone. So they open the phone, someone nicks the phone. They've got a list of all the passwords and stuff. A good option is what Russell says there. That's Russell from Lexa, Russell George. He basically says about biometric USBs. They're easily available. I know my opinion on that. Yeah, they're good and everything, but what's your opinion on carrying around a USB? What's encrypted, Ben and Will and Jen?
Well, likelihood is you're going to
Well,
lose it.
yeah, you're going to lose it is A. And what happens when you need that password and your USB pin goes deaf?
Mm-hmm.
You might
So-
need a data recovery specialist for that. Not mentioning any names like
I won't mention that, Mrs. C. But
Yeah. So it is a good option. Probably work better for a lot of businesses and stuff like that, where they can keep the USBs safe and stuff. And obviously, I know a lot of places. Obviously, they have to log into the devices using a USB pen and stuff like that. But the problem is the amount of times they lose and break them, or they just don't work, or whatever, can be quite a pain. And then it's not just like you can tell someone else, "Oh, just log in and type the password in if I need to." If you've got the USB pen and you've took it home by accident or something daft like that. But yeah. I must admit, it is an option. Good idea, Russell. May fix some solutions, especially businesses, but can potentially cause other issues as well.
It's a bit
But
like
yeah,
these. I was working lately just on what Russell was saying there about the USBs. I was working with a company, a kitchen manufacturer that spent thousands of pounds on this specialist design software that they use, and you put a USB in that activates the software. It's like one of these password dongles. You put it in and it activates it. You've got to leave it in the computer while you're using the software. I suppose they could come up with something like that built into your fingertip. It's a
yeah,
password microchip.
I
Way down
won't
the
say
line.
what company I was working at, but we had an employee badge, and you could not log into your computer without the badge. So that's a solution for a company, is to put the badge in,
Yeah.
and then type the password. And if you went for more than 5 minutes away from the computer, you had to relog back in, like bathroom break or something like that. You had to come back and relog. So that might be a solution for a business. At home, I can't see it taking off though.
mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely some things there. And as Over Air said, that they've done recoveries on clients' machines to bring back their password folders. And passwords are so easy to get hold of. Is generally you go to someone. If I go to someone's house these days, a lot of time you can find out what the password is. You just go into Chrome and go into the passwords and go, oh look, it says star, 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 and there's a little eye next to it. You press it, it shows you what the password is. All it takes is someone accessing someone's machine, especially the home users, that can find out every single password available, what they use for pretty much everything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So,
Google Chrome will allow you to export that as well. So it exports it onto like a WordPad document. You just open it up and you can see all the passwords. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I've had it where people have had their Google accounts hacked, and because they've got the Google Chrome synced with a Google account, they just basically log into there, and then every password they put on any of the machines, bang, they're all there. So it's a bit like having a password manager as such, but a Google account can be quite easy to get into for a lot. But yeah, definitely there.
Using things like admin1, password1, even your home address or your license number on your tag, you may as well not even have a password. At work one day, and this was a really highly classified job that I had back in the States. Again, I won't tell you what I was doing, but the woman comes in from the higher office and sits down to her computer, and she doesn't know the password for it. And I said, just out jokingly, I said, put in admin or admin1. She puts that in, it doesn't go. I said, put in password or password1. She got in. Now, this was a highly sensitive area, open for a lot of things that people don't want out there. She said, how did you know this? I said, well, those are the most common used passwords. And I said, now, if I were you, or someone that you might want to get IT on that, because I'm not even in the IT area at this point. I'm just working an average Joe job at the time. I said, I would get them to change that password.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a lot of places have really basic passwords, so I think that's again user error, laziness sometimes, and it won't happen to us. I think we're all guilty probably of that at least once or twice a week, probably, if not in a lifetime. Let's have a look. Just quickly go through chat. So let's have a look. Richard Creedy says people giving some random tech support, scammer accesses to the machines. Yeah. Richard's also saying he's got, is that YubiKey?
Yeah, that's the name of the key for the software I was trying to remember. YubiKeys. Yeah.
That's the one, is it? Yeah. So so there we go. So that's pretty good. Doesn't get enough use, he says, and he's saying that he also shows his customer passwords and stuff like that. We've also got Mr. Cormac from Crosshaven Computers. Let's see if he's sobered up a bit now. So he's saying, I tell home use to write the passwords down and make them long. No one is going to break into a house and steal the passwords. You'd be surprised. Family and stuff like that. I've had
especially family
stealing stuff from each other.
Family and friends that know the way around your house. A maid, some sort of cleaner, carer, or something like that.
Yeah, it takes them to stumble on it.
But,
I see where it's going. If I would go for that, I would tell them to put the password somewhere safe. Either have a special book where they put it inside to what no one ever looks in, or a DVD case or something. Yeah. Even then, you're asking for it. Obviously, the most secure place is putting it in a safe, but knowing the customers, if they're forgetting the password, they're going to forget the security key for the safe. So they'll lock it in there and not be able to get in. But you never know. Right, let's move on to another topic. Before that, looks like we're going to have a show next week, guys, on Thursday, same as usual. This time we're going to be talking about ChatGPT and AI. So if you wanted to know about that or even be involved in the show, being on the show, let us know. All being well, it'll be myself, Jen as well, as she's always here. We'll have Cormac on the show as well. That's if you can understand him, if he's sobered up, that is, by then. So we'll be talking ChatGPT and AI in general. So obviously there's a lot of AI things, and we're going to talk about the goods, the bads, the uglies, and maybe the ways it can actually help your business, because I've actually been playing about with it this week quite a bit, and surprising what it can actually do and just simple things like just rewriting some of the text you do. It'll make it look hell of a lot better, especially if you've got obviously dyslexia or any other things, or your grammar is just not brilliant. It'll iron all that out and it'll look like you've had basically paid someone to write it for you. So there's lots of good things, but as we said, goods and there's bads. We're going to be talking about that next Thursday at 8 o'clock. So let's get on to the next topic. So I think it's your turn to pick a topic now, Jen.
I was just going to comment briefly and say that I had read something briefly that Microsoft are going to put their fingers in the pot on artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I'm going to say ChatGTP. I always get the three letters the wrong way around. They're pretty much sponsored, used, invested in it. So Microsoft are so heavily, but there are, I think Google's working on one, and quite a few others are working on different variations as well. I think it's going to be the next big thing, what we all need to watch out for. And as I said, it could be good, bad. We'll emphasize a bit more on that next week, but it could potentially cost people jobs. It could create jobs. It could make your life easier. It could make you a hell of a lot of money. But we'll talk about that next week. Right.
On to another topic that I had. This week, some of you may have fallen victim to Microsoft outages and everything. Partially, what it boiled down to was Teams and other things like that were not working as they should have, and people were in an uproar about it because they needed these things to work for them. And Microsoft have come back and said that the impacted services have recovered and remain stable. Down Detector, which tracks website outages, showed dwindling numbers of users reporting problems, and they have blamed a wide area network, which has now been resolved. And this was in a statement to the BBC. Microsoft explicitly ruled out a cyber attack as potential cause. Believe it or not. So.
Yeah, I think whichever way we'll look at it, we all probably had a lot of customers on the phone yesterday morning saying my blah, 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 whatever was Microsoft doesn't work. But I think a lot of it was helped, but that obviously it was able to be seen on the BBC.
Just read through Tech for Techs, and there was a whole post about it. It was like, this is not working, and people just in the Tech for Techs group on their own were complaining, hey, this is not working for me, what's up?
Yeah.
I use the Microsoft admin app on my phone for any outages, and as I said, I think I was chatting with Alison yesterday, it was going ping, ping, ping all day yesterday, the day before, about the outages on it. And yeah, you get phone calls about it as well if you use Microsoft.
Yeah, that's definitely something. Did you have much issues with that, Ben?
No, I don't sort of deal with that sort of things. I don't do MSP or remote work really at all. I'm just purely hardware sales. So it was a nice, easy day for me yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, look at you then. I won't keep you much longer on that topic then. Let's just quickly go to chat. It looks like Russell at Lexar is doing a bit of a self-plug there. He says Lexar has a fingerprint biometrics, AES 256-bit USB drive. I wish they'd make them a bit easier to read. You can then open a partition as well, password protection and stuff. Anyway, if you want to have a look at that, he's put a link on there. Lexar products. If you wanted to get from distribution, I think i3i distribution is probably the best place to get them from. He'll probably comment in chat and clarify that in a few minutes and put a link on as well if you're interested in that. So next up, we've Richard Creed is basically just saying yes. So they're going to be using the Microsoft, basically their cloud system. I think there's sort of they've given them so much credit to use the system. That's regarding ChatGTP, where it's sort of like the sort of paying for itself sort of thing, and they've invested as well. So, but yeah, there's quite a bit in there. So, okay, Cormac, yes, we know you use G Suite and you've not had any problems with Microsoft. There's always one, isn't there?
As always.
There's always one.
It's going to be Linux
Actually,
Mint or something
He's saying
tonight,
G
but
Suite.
it's
It's
not
actually
G Suite.
Google Workspace now. It's called. So he's need to update his notes. Google Workspace it's called now.
There we go. Yeah, that's it. So one thing, Russell's putting a link on YouTube. Yeah, watch that after the show, guys. Don't click on it now. But I think it's to do with the product is shared. Also, guys, if you haven't already, me and Cormac had a bit of a chat the other day on his first podcast / live show. It's called Crosshaven Computers TikTok Tech Talk Show, if I'm right. He'll probably clarify that in a minute, but it's a bit of a mouthful, the name, and as I like to joke with him, to say that 10 times fast, and especially after you've had some Irish whiskey and you've got no chance. But have a look on his TikTok page. It's on there. It's also on our YouTube and stuff like that. But feel free to have a look on his TikTok page. I'll just put it on the screen for you there. You can have a look at his TikTok page and have a look at the interview. He talks to me, and he's interviewing me for a change. So he's asking me questions about what do I like, what type of phones, about my PC, a bit about GPT as well, business stuff on there. So there's quite a few bits on there. So if you haven't seen it already, suggest you do. It's about 15-20 minutes long altogether, I think it is. So yeah, definitely a good bit of fun.
It ends abruptly. I noticed this, but there is a part 2 to it. So you'll think, oh, okay, they've cut it off really short right there, but there is a part 2 that I've been told, because I asked Phil about it. I said, well, either the timing was off or, something. I said, what happened there? He said, there's a part 2. I said, right on. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Right. So is there any other topics you guys want to talk about before we call it out? Because it's getting on already. It's 10 to 9 already. So is there something else you want to talk about, Will?
One tip. One other tip.
Okay.
Found out yesterday. You know how people can have their smartphones stolen? Well, a way that these hackers or people that stealing your phones are getting into your bank account is by taking your SIM card out your phone and putting it into their own phone and contacting and doing the multi-factor authentication through the bank, and they get text messages coming back to that phone. There's a lot more on it. I was watching a television program about it last night, phone scammers. So just a reminder to people, and as I've done myself, put a PIN lock on your phone SIM card, 4-digit PIN number, and that is the way to stop that. So it's just a tip that popped in my head the other day that I wanted to share with people. Is put a SIM PIN on your phone, a SIM PIN on your phone. There you go.
There we go. So that's different than a password on your phone. That's actually one
PIN number
specifically for the SIM card. Okay. Yep. Good idea. I've not actually looked into that one, so that's something I'll definitely be looking into. Have you got anything else you'd like to quickly talk about, Ben, or add, or any more tips, or?
So it's more just an experience I had with one of my customers this week. Apparently, I've lost this customer. I'm not going to cry myself to sleep. Be careful how much you sort of try and help people out, bend over backwards to help people. So obviously, I'm primarily computer and laptop sales repairs. I've been known to do the odd phone repair in the past, and customer has been to me 5 or 6 times. He was really happy with the service. He brought a phone in and he said, iPhone 6, can you replace the battery? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. It'll be between £40 and £50 because I've not got the price for the battery at that point. And he was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'll drop it in. He dropped it in and came back to collect it. And he was like, how much is it? And I said, it's £50. He's like, oh, right, is it £50? I'm not really happy about that. And bear in mind, the part was like £18.50 and I'm also VAT reg. So it's very slim margins on phone repairs, one of the reasons I don't do them. And he basically went in a right grump over the fact that I didn't do it £40 because I quoted between 40 and 50 because I didn't know the cost of the part at that moment, And he's basically like, over £10, he was like, I'm not coming back here again. It's like, if that's how you want to be, that's how you want to be. I'm not going to cry myself to sleep about it. But it's just be careful how much you sort of bend over backwards to help customers. They can be the nicest people, and then you try and do them a favour and they turn on you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's so my days of doing anything on phones are done. I'm just not going to do it anymore.
Don't
yeah.
let that
Yeah,
one
well-
person spoil what you can do for other people, Ben. You know,
No,
I think we've all-
everyone's got their.
Yeah.
Is it nobody's expendable, or is that the
yeah,
phrase?
I think we've all had that experience, haven't we? Where you bend over backwards to help someone. And I'm particularly bad at giving free advice to people and end up solving the problem by giving them the advice and the way and fix
Yep.
it. Well, one person was
I've
in
done that.
poverty with me, so I gave them, a good discount, and you find out that they just bought themselves a brand new 22-plate car, Mercedes, and things like that. And I work a lot with one of the churches, and they plead poverty all the time, and yet church is probably one of the institutions that's got more money than the banks. But yeah, don't let
Yep.
one person,
They're not
one
taxed on it
bad apple,
in
yeah,
most cases.
yeah. Don't
One
let
just
one
to add
bad
on to
apple
what Ben.
ruin the rest.
Oh, sorry. Just to add on what Ben was saying there, one thing what I do, and this is when quoting people for stuff, I always stick 10% on top of what the actual price will be for the quote. So I'll say, it'll be instead of 50, you said 40 to 50, I'd say, it'll be roughly about 55 pound, or I'll give an exact number, like 55 or 60 or whatever pound. And then when I actually go round, I know it's only going to be 50. I'll go round and only charge them the 50, and then they feel like they've got a deal and that you've done some really good work for them and done it cheaper than, and you've gone out your way to do it cheaper, even though originally you were only going to charge them 50 anyway. You just add that 10% on top, and it actually sounds like you're doing them a deal, and it sort of gets you in their good books. But yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it. There'll always be that one customer who's going to be a grumpy old git sometimes.
He's a real nice
Someone
guy as
who
well.
wanted it for 20.
Yeah, there's always someone, and I think it's a bit like there was a post on Tech for Techs earlier. Someone got complaining about getting a 1-star review because they were trying to contact the customer. The customer didn't come back, so they didn't turn up to the appointment and whatever. And then they left them a 1-star review. And doesn't matter how or what excuse. If that person's in that bad mood, they're just going to give you a 1-star review, no matter what excuse or reasoning. You could be dying. I think there's some mention of cancer in there and whatever. You could be dying or whatever. They don't care. They just want it done then and there, and they can be really grumpy. But they'll be probably the first customer who would let you down and cancel your appointment. If it was the other way around. So
You could be bleeding out your eyeballs, but you're supposed to be there on time, not 1 second early, not 1 second late, on that dot. But how many times, Phil, have you sat in a driveway waiting for someone to come back from Morrison's?
Oh yeah, so yeah, I'll get to people's houses and it's like, and you call them because they're not in. And it's like, we're just doing the shopping at the moment. We'll be back in 20 minutes. And I'm like, well, the bill starts now. I'm not waiting 20 minutes for you and then start charging. I'm charging you for now. You know I was coming between 9:30 and 10. It's now 10 o'clock, and you're still not here.
People are so set in their ways, though, that they can't
Yeah.
move the shopping to any other day or any other time, and they will be there at that house all day long, 24/7. But yet it's got to be Monday at noon that we go shopping. We can't move it any other day.
That's it.
Weird.
So Over Air is saying in comments, let's have a look. So we've just opened a store in a shopping centre, and we deal with this all the time, probably once a day. And he also says, I've heard, sorry, reading the wrong one. My chat window's gone up, gone the wrong way around. He also says that we have a term we use, no good deed goes unpunished. So
Right.
so I think you got that one right, that's for sure. So
There we go. People.
Yeah, definitely, and there's definitely a lot of them around this area, I tell you.
Got that on that bombshell.
Yeah, exactly. On that bombshell, I think it's time to call it a night. So, as we said, guys, next Thursday we will have a show about AI, GTP. We'll have some examples. We'll get the program running on the show as long as it's not too busy and the glitchy or anything like that. But you'd be surprised what it can do if you haven't played about with it already. give it a go. It's free to use. Obviously, it's still in demonstration mode or whatever. It's not fully out there and connected to the internet yet, but it's got a hell of a lot of information, and you'd be surprised some of the things you can ask it to do. You can ask it ask it to rewrite something in 100 words. You can ask it to say, make it funny, have jokes in it. You can make it sound professional. It's all really interesting. I find in it. I think it's one of the biggest things what popped up. I think if Microsoft implement it properly, they could potentially turn the books or the tables on Google, to be honest with you. Really, unless Google managed to get an alternative up and running. It's really that good if you haven't had a go. But we'll talk more about it next week anyway. So, right, guys, I'd like to say thank you for Will for coming on tonight. I'll also say thank you to Ben as well as my lovely wife, partner, boss. I have to say that because she is the boss, but she is anyway. So thank you for being on as well. And we'll see you all next Thursday at 8 p.m. Just one last thing, though. If you're not in the Tech for Techs group, you can join Tech for Techs at obviously the Facebook website, which is facebook.com/groups/Tech4Techs, or just go to the Tech for Techs website, which is tech4techs.co.uk/join, and you'll be able to join there. You'll also have a link on there if you really want to check it out for the new forums area, but again, we're not accepting anyone else in at the moment until we have fixed the slight issues we've got. Okay, and again, thank you all. Thank you, Macaulay. Thank you, Over Air. Thank you, Richard, Alison, and everyone else who's been on there. Lexa for commenting tonight and watching and spending an evening with us. And we'll see you all next week. So again, thank you, everyone. Good night, and don't forget. Watch this. Can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you, strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors, and meet some of the biggest names in the industry, where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. And there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. Then what's more, you'll get that for £1. TechMax 2023 will be on the 23rd of June at Magna Adventure and Science Centre near Meadowhall in Sheffield. This event will be over 4 times larger than last year's event, and this year's event will incorporate a live tech awards, dedicated meeting rooms, demo and interactive areas, and up to 800 other techs just like you. Get registered now at tftmax.com.